r/askreddit by Dr. Reddit. Sex workers of Reddit, who was the grossest customer you've had? Had a guy who was high as a kite who wanted me to roleplay with him that I was his daughter and he was taping her. When it was over, he confided he'd done it before in real life. I had no idea whether he was still role-playing or not. I went to my supervisor afterward and she said nothing we can do, total anonymity. Quit and went to the police instead. Don't know what became of it. There's scat and other gross fetish stuff too, but that's the one that really haunts me. Ex-stripper. I lived and worked in a border town and we would always get so many American tourists. Our strip clubs are also full nudity. Well, one douchebag with a Texas accent wanted a refund because my lussie wasn't wet enough, and didn't leave a snail trail on his lap. He also demanded a refund because he tried to slip his pick out mid-lap dance and I screamed for security. For the record, he tried to put his pick in me mid-lap dance. I make fetish clips and I've had some on ones. Probably the grossest are the crush people. They're usually pretty polite, at least I'll get a message asking if I like crushing things, I say nothing alive and they thank me and leave. Just makes my skin crawl to think of hurting an animal to satisfy a sexual urge. Although one time, and of course this could have been fake, I had someone who asked and I said no. They ended up confessing to being ashamed of it, and we chatted for a bit. I tried to help them out and suggested therapy to help them deal with the guilt and self-hate. I still think about them sometimes and honestly I hope the sad messages were part of a fetish I don't know about because I don't want anyone feeling that awful about themselves. So I was a male stripper predominantly for bachelorette parties, but about 3 times a month I'd work the actual club to make ends meet. I was 18 and finishing up high school. One night I'm there and the manager says there's a guy willing to pay $2,000 for 2 hours with me. It's a straight club but half the dancers are gay and eat that stuff up, plus with a no touching rule, it's whatever. His only stipulation was that we not turn the lights on. He didn't want to be seen. This was the early 2000s and closet cases were more reserved then. That said, I go in to dance. I dance for about 20 minutes and he says something that makes my skin crawl. Tell me you're only 15. I was disgusted, but this was money I needed. I'm not proud, but I said it though I couldn't get over the familiarity in his voice. He continued on with stuff like that, having me say I was 15 over and over, having me say I was running late for English class, etc. He just wanted me to pretend I was a little younger than I was. Then he said it, call me Coach Bellum. Coach Bellum was my 9th grade football coach and a fervent creep who wandered into the boys and girls showers during use a few too many times and got fired the year after I had him as a coach. I went to beeline for the door as soon as he said it. There's no way he didn't recognize me after all, he picked me because he knew 14 to 15-year-old me. When I clearly got up to move he grabbed me around my waist and just licked my stomach and said, I can give you all the money you need. Let me have this. I broke his nose, got out, and got the bouncers in there. To my knowledge he was the first and only person we ever banned from returning there. Apparently we didn't need to though, as he got jailed just a couple months later for molestation of a family member. He was grimy. I'm a dancer at a topless strip club, no removing bottoms allowed. I had this guy coming to see me about once a week. He'd give me $100 to $150 every time he came in, but each time try to push the boundaries further and further. Eventually he kept trying to whip his pick out and I had to tell him no. Next time he came in, while I was turned around shaking my ass in his face, he pulled his pick out, condom already on, grabbed my hips and tried to put me onto his pick. Seriously shitty. Another one of my friends was doing a half hour with a guy and she flipped over and farted in his face. She was mortified, but he tipped her $20 at the end, so he must have enjoyed it. Literally tonight at work, a girl got fired for prostitution. She was screaming at the manager the whole time, in the middle of the room, all the customers watching her. I only gave him a hand job. I only gave him a hand job. It's not like I ducked him. Every single girl that goes back there ducks. Not true. What's the big deal? I was just jacking him off. She's been a dancer for a while. She claimed another girl told her it was okay and that's why she did it. Bullshit. You know the rules, and you got caught. It happens. I've seen girls sucking and ducking literally 2 feet from me. I had a girl wave and smile at me as she was jacking a dude off. In full view of the camera, lol. I had a customer who liked to wear a bonnet, suck on a pacifier, and wear a diaper under his pants. He liked to call me mommy and be spanked. And he paid well for it. I had a guy that loved the smell of sweaty ass. He would always tell me when he was coming in, always near the end of the night, so I wouldn't go to the dressing room and freshen up as much as I usually would, and he would literally give me $200 just to stand in front of him, ass cheeks apart while he smelled it. I guess the first one was the grossest, the rest of them were just weird. I have so many stories from dancing lol.